Have you ever just looked around at our crowded world and wondered, how big is the human story, really? Not just the people alive today, but across all of time. Well, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions you can ask.
It sounds like a pretty simple question, doesn't it? How many individual human beings have ever called this planet home? From the very beginning of our species, right up until this moment. Let's find out.
Okay, so let's not beat around the bush. The number that most demographers, the real experts, land on is somewhere around a mind-boggling 1117 billion people. Just let that sink in for a second. 1117 billion individual lives.
Now, to really wrap your head around that, think about this. The 8 billion of us alive right now, we're only about 7% of every human who has ever lived. That means the other 93%, the overwhelming majority of the entire human story, has already played out.
So the big question is, how in the world do scientists even come up with a number like 11 billion? I mean, it's not like they have a time machine to go back and count everyone. It's a really cool process of what you might call demographic detective work.
At the center of it all is a model called demographic estimation. So it's not a direct count. It's more like a way of piecing together our species' long history using a series of really educated guesses based on all the evidence we have.
It basically boils down to 4 key steps. First, you have to pick a starting line. A lot of researchers use 50,000 BCE, when modern humans really started showing up. Next, you estimate how many people were alive at different points in history. Third, you have to make an assumption about birth rates, and trust me, they had to be incredibly high just for us to survive back then. And finally, you add up all the births from all those different periods. Okay, so moving on, because when you run all those numbers, something really fascinating emerges. You discover that humanity doesn't just have one history. It's really a tale of 2 completely different eras.
For almost all of human existence, our population grew at a crawl. I mean, think about it. By the year 1 AD, there were probably only 300 million people on the entire planet. It then took another 1,800 years just to hit the 1 billion mark. But then, right around the 1800s, everything changed, and I mean dramatically.
So here's that crucial divide. From millennia, you had really high death rates, especially for infants, that just kept our numbers from growing too much. But after 1800, whoa, you get huge advances in medicine, sanitation, and farming, and it triggered a population explosion like nothing the world had ever seen.
And that is the key to why the total number is in the billions, and not the trillions. Most of the time we've been on Earth, our population was actually pretty small. This massive growth that we think of as normal, it's an incredibly recent thing.
Now, it's really important to remember that 117 billion is our best guess. It's an estimate, not a hard and fast count. It's a super informed calculation, for sure, but it's built on assumptions, and that means there are some big uncertainties.
I mean, just think about it. When do you even start counting? At 50,000 years ago? 200,000? And what even counts as human? Plus, there's almost no hard data from the ancient world, so things like population size and birth rates, they're guesses. And if you change one of those variables just a little bit over thousands of years, it can change the final number by a lot.
And that's exactly why the experts themselves will give you a pretty wide range. As the physicist Piotr Kapitsa pointed out years ago, you'll see credible estimates as low as 80 billion, or as high as 150 billion. So that 117 billion number, it sits really comfortably right in the middle of that accepted scientific range.
So, what does this all mean for us, right here, right now? Why does this giant number even matter? Well, let's zoom out a bit and think about our place in this enormous human story.
Look at this comparison. It really puts things into a stark perspective. The number of people alive today is just completely dwarfed by the number of people who came before us. It's a powerful way to remember that we're just the current chapter in a very long book.
The ratio works out to be about 14 to 1. That means for every single person alive on Earth today, roughly 14 people have lived and died before us. In a very real way, we are standing on the shoulders of the dead. So why does it matter? Well, understanding this gives us a profound sense of perspective. It shows us just how strange and unique our time of rapid growth really is. And honestly, it's a deeply humbling thought to realize that your life, my life, we're all just one story out of an epic of 117 billion.
We are the 7% who happen to be here right now living through this one-of-a-kind moment in history. So the real question this whole thing leaves us with is this: what will our chapter in this immense human story be remembered for?